Recovery and Child Psychology. Dr. Marissa is the Ontario Coordinator for the Forum for Canadian Sovereignty.
Look at you! Hello, free breathers and free thinkers. I'm Dr. Marissa Heisel, and in April, I traded in my chiropractic license of 21 years for the freedom to speak truth. Canadian chiropractors, medical doctors, nurses, dentists, naturopaths, massage therapists, every single licensed health professional was being forbidden by our associations and our colleges from even saying the words immune system or talking about how to support human health. Right. The narrative of maintaining a 6-foot distance, of washing your hands and staying home was the only narrative that we were allowed to parrot. At some point in April, it became obvious that the story that we were being sold stunk. News stations around the world were showing scenes from hospitals over and over and declaring them as their own. Numbers began seeming nonsensical in relation to the draconian lockdown measures that were being taken. Health organizations started flip-flopping back and forth on their narrative and on their messaging. A few brave medical doctors and nurses started speaking up about the true nature of this illness and of the inept treatment efforts that were being taken. But meanwhile, more people were dying of isolation, suicide, and a lack of medical care for their genuine health needs than any were dying from a supposed virus. I've known for more than 21 years that the industrial medical complex and big pharma are callous and corrupt. I've watched as medical mismanagement, maltreatment, and pharmaceutical horror shows have taken the lives of people in my care. But it wasn't until April that I started to recognize the web of deceit that was being perpetrated against us. A web that included medicine, the pharmaceutical industry, education, government, media, banking, the law, and on and on and on. A web that was being unleashed against us with this supposed virus to bring us to our knees begging for a prophylactic pharmaceutical injection. And instead what it has done is it has awoken so many of us to the charade that is being played out against us by governments, globalists, and technocrats around the world, along with their puppet masters. Thankfully, there are good people across the world who are willing to raise their voices. Critical thinkers and activists who are calling out the game and the players. We know that the virus has not been isolated. We know the false positive test for asymptomatic, i.e. healthy people, is 84 to 95%. We know that doctors and scientists around the world are calling out their governments. We know that the World Doctors Alliance is challenging the entire pandemic narrative, calling it out as untrue. And yet here in Canada, we have lone voices speaking out, a handful of doctors and scientists and lawyers, only a couple of political independents who are willing to open their mouths. I cannot believe that professionals around the world are more astute or aware than Canadians. All I can assume is that Canadian professionals and the Canadian people have been purposely and completely terrorized. And cowardice is a luxury that we no longer have time for. I realized that darkness must rise in order for us to see it and cut it off at the knees. We are the people who will create the world that we intend to live in. I call on all health professionals, lawyers, bankers, teachers, police officers, military personnel, and all of the people of Canada to stand for justice. Stand for sovereignty and stand for love. Thank you.
Cheryl Yacob is the director of Vaccine Choice Canada, an organization that is very near and dear to my heart. It is with gratitude that I welcome Vaccine Choice Canada Director Cheryl Yacob.
Thanks, Christine. I just got the okay to make a little announcement, if that's okay. I want to say never underestimate the power of the people. There are a group of individuals that I had the pleasure to meet who are pretty upset with what's going on and they want answers. So what we have done is we talked to, you may have heard of him, Rocco Galati. And we asked him, how can we get a public inquiry and get some answers? And he said he's going to help. So in the crowd, you'll see people going around. They've got flyers. What we need to do is fundraise because it doesn't happen for free. Donations can be made at constitutionalrightscenter.ca. And just in the notes that you want it for the citizens' public inquiry because we are demanding answers. For nearly 40 years, our organization, through its evolution, has stood up for the right of informed consent, as is a fundamental freedom guaranteed by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Our work has always been important, but it has never been so critically important as it is today, as we face government tyranny and removal of our rights and freedoms under the guise of a virus. Let me be very clear on one point. The purpose of the Charter is not to empower government. It is in place to control and limit government and protect Canadians. The Charter outlines the basic principles that separate free citizens from those who are controlled. Violations of our freedoms will not be tolerated. Last year, we filed our first lawsuit against the Government of Ontario in response to Charter right violations. In July, we filed our second lawsuit against multiple levels of government and individuals for the unjustified, unlawful, tyrannical measures they brought in under COVID-19. With both lawsuits, we retain the services of constitutional lawyer, Mr. Rocco Galati. So today I ask you, what will you stand for? Over the past months, we have seen endless examples of the harm done to our society and members of our community by the actions of our governments. We have stood silently while our loved ones have died alone in hospital without the support of their families. We have seen suicide, drug overdoses, and domestic abuse rates skyrocket. We have been separated from our friends and families. Businesses have been arbitrarily shut down for months on end, many of which will never reopen their doors. Our most vulnerable long-term care homes have been isolated from their loved ones, and the environment that was supposed to be safe and supportive and helping them has become a prison. Patients have been unable to access health care, including tests, treatments, diagnoses, essential surgeries, and they have created fear so insurmountable that we even had radio ads telling people that if they're suffering a heart attack or stroke, that yeah, you really should call 911 and not die home alone. We have had a level of fear marketed to us at unprecedented levels, but through it all, what we have not had is accountability nor transparency. And so I ask you, what will you stand for? Barring one, Randy Hillier, not speaking out and demanding transparency our role as an elected official to represent our interests and uphold the Constitution? They say these actions are done to save lives, but yet there is no effort to differentiate between who has died with versus who has died from. And all of the deaths caused by these measures are being ignored. So it's a statement without merit. Why are our elected not demanding that our health minister disclose stats of people who test positive versus those who are actually sick or symptomatic or hospitalized? Why are they using a test with high inaccuracy rates? How can their actions possibly be justified without having even this most basic information? If truth, accuracy, and responsibility are not their priority, what is? Does it concern you that they have granted themselves impunity while they impose fines, penalties, and hardships on all of us? To our MPPs, I ask you, what will you stand for? What kind of world do you want to live in? When was the last time you saw someone smile? We now live in a society where mothers cannot recognize their own children because their faces are covered. If masks work, why can't residents in care homes or patients in hospitals not have visitors? If they don't work, why are they mandated? Where is the public debate on these issues? Where is the transparency? Where is the accountability? Where is the science? Why are the cries of our own Canadian doctors and scientists being ignored? Have you traded in your humanity for the illusion of safety? In the end, this is about freedom. Either you are free or you are not. So I ask you, what will you stand for?
Hello to Henry Hildebrandt from the Church of God.
We love you!
Hello, Toronto. Hello, Canada. Hello, the whole world. Everyone that's watching, everyone that's hearing. We are glad to be here today.
We're glad to have you!
Let's rock and roll. Thank you to all those who worked so hard to make this happen, and especially our friends in uniform who keep us safe. Thank you. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. Luke 4, verse 18 and 19. What a calling we have as pastors. God help us. The question is not why we are here. The question is, where is everybody else? Just a little review from last time. Quarantine is isolating the sick. Tyranny is isolating the healthy. When tyranny becomes law, resistance becomes duty. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Henry, put that right in front of your face.
Right in my face? Right here? Okay, is that better? Okay. Pastor Martin Niemöller said about World War II, he said first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. By God's grace, I will listen to Pastor Niemöller and will not make the same mistake. The question is, Pastor, what about Romans verse 13. Should we not obey the government? I have an answer. What about Acts chapter 5? Shall we not obey God rather than man? And by the way, the book of Acts comes before the book of Romans. Pastor, what about John 3:16? My question, what about John 2:16? Chapter 2, Jesus says, take these things hence.
Yes.
Get those things out of here.
Yes, sir.
That includes, in my mind, the mask. Make not my Father's house a house of merchandise, or as another evangelist says, a den of thieves. Since when am I supposed to cover up my mouth and then try to sing? Like I said, when I'm believing dry singing, no, if they say it produces too much moisture. Prophecy was being fulfilled. His disciples said, the zeal of thy house hath eaten me up. And I must confess today, the zeal of God's house is eating me up. We must always strive to have a Christ-like blend of love and truth about us. Jesus was not nice in the temple. Christianity is not some soapy, soft, non-offensive concept. Jesus said, ye blind guides which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. We live in camel swallowing time.
Yes.
33 million babies have been killed this year, basically unchecked. Henry Hildebrandt is a hero because he kept the abortion clinic open. Henry Hildebrandt apparently is a yahoo because he kept the church doors open. Mr. Premier, did you say we are a bunch of yahoos? Well, I see a lot of nice yahoos around here today. Mr. Mayor, did you say this is an eccentric collection of protesters? I was shocked. That's how you address the people that voted you in.
Not voted in.
Whatever brought Paul to Mars Hill is what brought us here today to Mars Hill. I can see Paul being at Dundas and Young.
Sure.
Whatever Paul declared on Mars Hill, we will declare here today. The unknown God, for in Him we live and move and have our being. God is supreme. Whereas Canada, say it with me if you like, whereas Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. Mr. Prime Minister, when your daddy signed, when he signed this in 1981, he recognized the supremacy of God. All right? So my question, Mr. Prime Minister, my question is, would you sign it for us in 2020? We are called to be unbending and unflinching when it comes to standing for the truth. When men play God, they behave like devils. Paul Ramsey said, man ought not to play God before they learn to be man. And after they have learned to be man, they will not play God. Last page.
Keep going.
Long before government was, God is. Long before government was, the family unit was. Long before the government was, the church was. When government overrides God, the passion.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
Nice people buckle, nice people give way, nice people accommodate, nice people don't offend, nice people allow themselves to get pushed around and taken advantage of. Nice people always finish last. God has not called us to be nice. Rather, He has called us to be good. There comes a time when we stiffen our spines and we say, I am not going to bend on this issue. There is a moral standard at stake here on which I cannot compromise, and I must plant my feet and refuse to budge.
Right.
Nice people don't do that, but good people do. In fact, good people must.
Yes.
Nice people don't change history. Good people do. Nice people don't change the world, but good people do. Mean people speak when they shouldn't, but nice people don't speak the truth when they should. Good people do. Good people must. God, keep our land glorious and free. Thank you. God bless you. Hey guys, look at this turnout.
Yeah!
You know what I see here? I see a group of people that have finally had enough. Did everybody go to their friends and families for Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
I did too. We had a party with about 50, 60 people.
Yeah!
Fantastic. Spreading love, unity, peace, and rejecting their message of despair and hopelessness. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw what happened to me over the last couple of weeks. They've been doing everything they can to silence us, everything they can to try to slow us down. And I'm sure before the end of the year, they're probably going to arrest me again. But guess what? That's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep fighting for me, for you, for everybody. I created a new website. It's called overcomethevirus.com. OTV, Overcome the Virus. Social media is being censored like never before. Our groups are being attacked. Our pages are being taken down. So I created this page as a one-off page for everyone in Canada to go to. It's got links to all our different groups. It's got links to MAD, Back to Work, Comes Over Mass, The Line, our Santa Claus Parade thing. Everything we've got going on is going to be shown on that site. We're going to post events on that site. We have a petition on that site. And most importantly, the newest thing we're going to be adding to that site. There's a declaration going around right now that an amazing church pastor created. Over 400 churches in Ontario have signed this declaration to stay open. We are adapting that declaration for small businesses. And we're going to create an online version that everybody can anonymously sign. And then if any one of those businesses has any trouble with the government, they all come together and we fight it together as one. What does the government fear more than anything? Even more than just me telling the truth to all of you. You know what they fear? They fear all of us coming together. They fear us joining in one voice to stand up and say, no, we will not comply. They will try to label us. Why do people label? People label when they don't have an argument. Anti-masker. We're not anti-mask. I'm going to say that on the record right here. I tell everybody, if you work in healthcare, if you work with elderly, wear personal protection equipment, aka a respirator or better, not a mask. They try to say that our Santa Claus Parade is going to be an anti-mask event. It's not anti-mask. I don't care if you wear a mask. We don't care if you show up in a hazmat suit. It's about Christmas. It's about children. It's about unity. We want the people wearing masks to show up. We want people without masks to show up. Why? Because we're all part of Canada. So we need to stick together.
something else. I heard it in the media. They've been trying to slander me. I'm sure a lot of you have heard. There's another guy by the name of Christopher Sakocha, and he's got a really lengthy criminal record. Drug charges, gang charges. He sounds like a supervillain.
Sounds like a ball
They will tell you that is me. They will attribute those charges to me. I just want to go on the record today and say, those charges are bogus. That is not me, and I have no criminal record. So do not listen to the slander you hear. Period. I made a very bold prediction last week, and I'm going to double down on it this week. Just because I made it and I expected at least the media to address it, but they ignored it. They ignored it. Why? Because they don't want people to know the solution. When we are past the tipping point. This is the time where people have realized this is not about safety and health, this is about control. How do I know this for sure? Every week I'm at Kensington Market on Sunday, for the record. And every week people come up to me and either say something nice or something mean. The mask wearers would always come up and say something mean. But since I've been telling everybody, show them love, show them compassion, let them understand that we're in this together. Guess what happened last Sunday? I had people in groups wearing masks. They came up to me, and instead of saying something derogatory or calling me a name, they said, "Thank you." Can you believe that? Can you believe that? If that doesn't show that we've turned the tide and this is going in our direction, nothing will. And what did I say? And what did they ignore in the media? How do we get through this? When this is all said and done and we got the power of the people on our side, we still need leadership. We are very much lacking in leadership right now. What is going to happen in the next few months? We're going to have Donald Trump win the election. I'm saying that. And once he wins that election, he is going to endorse Mr. Carbo of the Republican Party of Canada. Repeat after me. Trump and Carbo. Trump, Carbo. Trump, Carbo. Take control. And that's what we're going to do. We're taking control of our country. We're taking control of our government. We're taking control of everything they've tried to take away from us. Why? Because we have the power, not them. We have the power to say no. We have the power to go to work. We have the power to make choices for our children. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start making choices for our own best interests. And as you see, it's catching on like wildfire. Look around you. Look at everyone here today. Look at that motorcade. People came here from far and wide for one purpose. United